Well, it's nearly 10 o'clock, but we'll still play baseball here on CN8 live from Waterfront Park in Trenton. It's the 1999 Big East Baseball Tournament, a semifinal matchup as the Red Storm of St. John's takes on the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Well, hello again, everybody. Just one more time, Mick Moddinghoff here on CN8. We are set for a semifinal round matchup, and this is a rematch of an earlier round game when Rutgers beat St. John's by a score of 13-9. Now, this is a double elimination tournament. Both teams have one loss. The winner goes on tomorrow at noontime to take on Providence. The loser will go home. For the call of this one, let's go upstairs to our Bob Wischusen and Dave Sims. Gentlemen.
All right, Mick, thank you very much. And Dave, earlier on today, we had a similar situation to what we have tonight in our first game that St. John's played in. This will be the second time today where St. John's is going to play in a game where it's one and done. If they win, they move on to the championship game. If they lose, they don't. But the same is true of Rutgers.
Does not get any better than this, because this is it. Lights out for both clubs here in this double elimination tournament. Providence, a great story. They advance to the championship round tomorrow, and actually that's just going to be one game because they also have one loss too. So that's the situation we have. Every pitch, as we talked about at the beginning of the day, everything is magnified. And I tell you what, last inning we saw a couple of big innings. You want to stay out of these 5-run big innings. They proved to be fatal in the last game for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, and I'm sure that's something that they'll remember going into this game against St. John's.
You touched on something, though, that we should spend some time talking about, and that is, how about the Providence Friars? This is a ball club that knows they will be disbanded once the season is done. They have been told, because of Title IX gender equity rules, that the program at Providence is going to be eliminated. They're not going to have baseball there anymore. What a way they could possibly go out. At the very least, they have an opportunity tomorrow at noon, and a game we'll have for you on CN8 to play the winner of our next game here for the Big East Conference Championship.
It's one of the great sentimental favorite stories in the world of sports, certainly for this month and maybe even for the year. Everybody in this country likes the underdog, and what can you not like about the Providence Ball Club? They swing the bat real well. They got a complete game effort out of their pitcher this last game, but they're gamers. They come hard, they play hard, and they're ready to rock and roll. I mean, you got to love it, and here it is. This is how they're going to go out in a blaze of glory, and hopefully, you know, it'll be an interesting story to see if they can advance into the NCAA tournament. Another thing to consider, too, with Notre Dame having such a great regular season, they did get eliminated this morning. Do they get, and especially as the being host, are they in as an automatic bid as long with whoever comes out of here as the winner? It's going to be very interesting.
There's no question about it. You know, this is obviously a game where the winner advances and moves on to take on Providence tomorrow with the Big East Championship on the line. And just to explain why we're here and why that man, Fred Hill, and his Rutgers Scarlet Knights are still here and why St. John's is still here. Earlier this week on Wednesday, the first day of the Big East tournament, at least scheduled to be, it was a washout. There was rain. Therefore, the entire tournament was pushed back a day, meaning that today was supposed to be the championship day. Yesterday was supposed to be the semifinal day. As a result, today we're playing semifinals, and tomorrow we were going to play the championship day, or rather today, but now we have to play tomorrow. They're worried that rain might come into the factor tomorrow as well, so they're trying to play another game tonight. Let's check out the Rutgers batting order. They're in the home whites, but they will be the road team tonight. David DeJesus will lead off. Darren Finster, once again the shortstop, he will hit second. Pete Zuccolillo, the left fielder, will hit third. Jake Daubert down at third. He's in the cleanup spot. Mike O'Brien back in his usual spot at fifth, the first baseman. Todd Speedy, the designated hitter, will hit sixth. Matt Walski, the 7-hitter, he'll be starting at second base. Ken Ulrich, who did not play in the first game, he's the new catcher. He will hit eighth. And Brian Simnicki, the center fielder, will hit ninth.
And on the mound for the Red Storm of St. John's is Kevin McGeary, and he's got a big chore in front of him to come up with a victory for the Red Storm and keep this season alive. A lot of pressure on that young man. McGeary on the season with a 7-3 record, 3.78 ERA. He's pitched a lot of innings, 95 innings, good strikeout ratio, 108 over 48. Not too bad. The umpires for our game, Tony Giussani behind the plate, Peter Amoroso at first, Don January at second, and Jay DeSantis at third. And Kevin McGeary gets us started here. First pitch is up high.
Our third game on CN8, the fourth game today here at Waterfront Park in the Big East Tournament.
In for a strike to David DeJesus.
And again, this was a game that they were talking about playing tomorrow. This should have been the game to play at noon, with the winner going on at 3:30 to play Providence later tomorrow.
A threat of rain as he bangs one down the left field line. Fair. That's good for extra bases. DeJesus digging. Bill Zikjian up with it, and he gets it back in. So once again, David DeJesus getting Rutgers off to a terrific start. In the previous game against Providence, he led off the home first with a home run. This time, a double down the left field line.
And defensively for St. John's behind Kevin McGarry, Dave. Robert Fierro once again will catch. Right to left around the infield. Chris Fallon at first. Matt Galante, the second baseman. Anthony Sutter at short. And Mike Zarilla is the third baseman. Left to right in the outfield. Charles Bilizikjian is in left field. Dan Neal in center, and Pete Graham in right.
Here's Darren Fenster. He's the leading hitter for Rutgers against St. John's. 2-1 is the Rutgers record against St. John's this year. Fenster takes strike one. Fenster with some good numbers. Nobody covering at second. Tell you what, and a hearty group of fans still on hand here at Waterfront Park. Give them a lot of credit. So Rutgers mounting a threat right out of the starting blocks. That's a called strike on Fenster. It's 0-2 in a bunt situation, and every time you get a runner in scoring position, with this being an elimination game for both clubs, you'll see a lot of action. He couldn't bunt him over. Let's see if he can hit to the right side and move him to third. Way outside. 1-2 the count to Darren Fenster.
I'm surprised with a hitter. Let's put up the kind of numbers that Fenster has so far this year. 435, that Fred Hill would be so content to have him give himself up. But with 2 strikes against him, now he has to swing the bat.
1-2 pitch. Fouled right side. Fenster hanging tough.
And who knows, maybe it turns out to be a blessing in disguise for Hill that Fenster ends up with 2 strikes on him, because now this means he has to swing the bat, and this is a guy that can do some damage.
One and two to Fenster. Stays alive barely. McGarry coming over the top with that 12-6 curveball. Actually has a little bit more of a slider, but he comes directly over to the top, sort of reminiscent of oh, now I know it's a long day, and I just drew a blank. The Fordham pitcher, Pete Harnish, reminiscent of Pete Harnish.
Sure. That's when Harnish is at his most successful, when he's got that curveball working.
1-2 the pitch. Sliced into right field. Graham is there at the line, makes the catch. The runner holds, and a pretty strong throw by Graham to hold him to 1 down here in the Rutgers first.
If they didn't know the kind of arm that Pete Graham has in right field, they know now, because almost from a dead stop, he threw a strike to third base on the fly. But an RBI opportunity for Pete Zuccolillo. Flashing the arm is Pete Graham, another look. And on the fly, almost from a dead stop to third base. Strong throw.
Zuccolillo, the all-everything left fielder for Rutgers. That, to me, was a wasted effort for a pitcher. As we talked about in the previous game, he only had about a 3-foot lead. That's in for a strike. A lot of pitching coaches in the big leagues will tell you, listen, as we mentioned in the previous game, you got a couple weapons you can use. If the guy's off too far, step off and just vary your pitches. You know, go on 1.2, next time go on 2.2 in terms of time. Here's the 0-1 pitch, let up pitch, and well done.
A lot of times people will probably see a shot of, say, the pitching coach in a dugout, and you'll see the pitching coach or one of the bench coaches with a stopwatch hanging around his neck.
You see the first base coaches more often than not, too.
That's what they're timing. They're timing pitchers' deliveries. They're timing how long it takes them to deliver the baseball out of the stretch. They're timing how long it takes the speedier runners to get to first base. That way they can vary how they play their infielders.
Here's the 0-2 to Zuccolillo. Outside, waste one, 1-2.
But a good example is if you're watching Mets games, Every time you see Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach for the Mets, he's got a stopwatch around his neck. Every single time.
Game has become that scientific.
Absolutely.
One out here in the top of the first. Runner at second. 1-2 pitch to Zaccolillo. Up high. There's the 2-2.
It is funny how scientific the game has gotten in certain instances. There's a great book that George Will wrote called Men at Work.
Yeah, I read it. Yeah.
Do you remember the part about Dave Duncan, the pitching coach that has gone from the A's now to the Cardinals with Tony La Russa?
There's a 2-2 to Zaccolillo. Let up pitch, got him swinging. Good pitch by McGarry.
Off-speed pitch that had Zaccolillo way out in front. First strikeout of the game for McGarry, and the second out of the inning. Get another look at it here. You could see through that hard slider. Comes out looking like a fastball, and Zaccolillo swung as if it was going to be a fastball. And there's the head coach of the St. John's Red Storm, the son-in-law of Mike Shepard Sr., the head coach for Seton Hall, Ed Blackmeyer.
Fouled straight back by Jake Dahlberg. St. John's got here with a 7-2 win over Seton Hall 2 games ago. 7-13-0 for St. John's, 2-5-3 for Seton Hall. Blankmeyer beats his father-in-law for the 5th time in 6 games. Hit hard, right side. Nice dive by Fallon. He's there. The McGarry covering. Did he get him? He did. Nicely executed by St. John's. They get out, stranding Rutgers with a runner at second base. Nothing across. We go to the home first. Rutgers nothing. St. John's coming to bat. Welcome back, everybody, as a look at the St. John's Red Storm dugout as they get ready for action and watch their defense actually come to bat for the first time against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights and Jeff Pierce.
And also, getting back to that story we were talking about before and how scientific things have gotten in the game today. There's a great story in that book, Men at Work, about Dave Duncan, the pitching coach that has gone with Tony La Russa. And obviously, everybody knows La Russa's reputation for using, you know, the lefty-lefty, righty-righty combinations. And some people talk about how he La Russa-ized baseball.
Sure.
But Duncan has a binder about a foot thick with every pitch that his hitters... his pitchers have gotten the opposition's hitters out like the last 25 times they faced them.
Yowzer.
So that way they can look at all the trends of how his pitchers have been successful against the last group of hitters.
Is that unbelievable?
And obviously that comes from watching hours of videotape and charting pitches, because you can't chart that type of location from the dugout. You have a terrible view.
Dan Neal leading off. 1-0 count. Good fastball by Jeff Pierce.
Could you imagine having the reference to know 2 years ago how your reliever got the 4-hitter out from the opposition?
That's a little scary, to be honest with you. Slice to left field. Zaccolillo drifting back, makes the catch. One down here in St. John's first.
Zaccolillo took a little bit of the banana route on that ball. Started in, floated towards left center, then finally floated back, almost had to backpedal at that point to make the catch, but settled under it nicely. You'll see. He really has to take sort of the circular route to get back to the point where that ball finally comes down. The wind has been playing havoc at times with some balls in the outfield.
Here's Matt Galante, the second baseman. Looks at ball one. It's the first time in a long time, I think going back to my days at the Daily News late 70s, that I've sat through 3 baseball games in one day. It's the first time for everything.
Make him stand up.
2-0 to Galante, whose dad is a bench coach down in with the Houston Astros. 2-0 pitch. I like the way Pierce is working. He's working quickly.
Some pressure on Jeff Pierce, obviously. Pressure on both starting pitchers when it's a losing your team goes home situation.
3-0, and he lost Galante on 4 pitches.
Missed downstairs with a fastball that time, and you don't want to see your pitcher struggling to locate his fastball early on in a game.
Well, that's what he's doing, and that's kind of scary if you're in the Rutgers dugout right now, because Mike Zarilla's up.
5-7.
A masher, to put it mildly.
This is the 9th start this year that Jeff Pierce has made, so he's not really one of the regular 3 guys that Fred Hill likes to use in his rotation. A spot starter starting a big game tonight.
There's Zarilla swinging first pitch, fouls it back. Zarilla with an outstanding year. 418, 16 homers, 64 RBI. He's behind in the count, 0-1. Pierce bluffing Galante back to first base. Here's the 0-1. Outside, a little high. Batting order: Neil, Galante, Zarilla, Graham, Potts, and Fallon, Bilizikjian, Sutter, and Fierro for St. John's. 1-1 the count to Zarilla. Throw over to first. We have not had anybody picked off in the, what's this, our 3rd game, 4th game. I don't think anybody, no one's been picked off today. One and one to Zarilla. Inside corner.
It's impossible to find out, I'm sure. But I wonder how many times a ballpark has hosted 4 baseball games in one day. Because this is the 4th Big East tournament game that Waterfront Park is holding today. Now, they were only scheduled to hold 3.
1-2 to Zarilla. Fastball got him. Overpowered him. First strikeout for Jeff Pierce.
Tough guy to throw a high heater pass. That's exactly what Pierce just did, though. I'm sure Zarilla will put that one in the memory bank as we get a look at the numbers on Pierce, and they're not great. Not a bad walk ratio. That's the number you'd like to see. Only 1 walk every 4 or so innings. You don't want to give free passes, and for the most part he doesn't, although he has walked a man here in the first.
Pete Graham looks at ball 1. Pete, the right fielder. Had a nice year, 337, 8 homers, and 42 RBI.
Jeff Pierce not the most experienced starter. On the flip side, though, St. John's with their ace on the mound tonight, McGarry.
Just missed. Trying to get him on the inside as we look at the defense.
And defensively behind Jeff Pierce, around the infield from right to left, Mike O'Brien at first. Matt Walski at second, Darren Fenster the shortstop, and Jake Daubert is at third. Right to left in the outfield, David DeJesus, Brian Simnicki, and Pete Zaccolillo in left. And Ken Ulrich gets the start behind the plate.
2-0 pitch. Did get him. Got a piece of him. Got, I think, the left arm around the tricep area. So 2 runners on with 2 out here in the first.
A fastball that rides in and up. And that was not the kind of pitch. Graham is not trying to get hit there. There's no question. He's doing his best to get out of the way. And that ball may have just nicked the jersey.
Yep.
That's all it has to hit, though. If, in the umpire's opinion, the ball just touches the fabric of the batter, it's a hit by pitch and a free base.
2-1 situation for Eric Potts. Continuing to work that inside corner, but he misses 1-0.
Important for Pierce to try and stay in this game as well as he can. You can see Potts the last game 1 for 5. He's a .356 hitter on the year. But going up against Kevin McGarry, the ace for the St. John's staff, I'm going to try and match him through the first 3 or 4 innings.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Hit hard into the hole. That's a base hit. They're going to send the runner Galante. Here's the throw by Zaccolillo. It's up the line. Guy's in there. He's in there. Matt Galante scores. They appeal down to third base just in case he may have missed. And St. John's on the board. An RBI single by Eric Potts.
Pretty good throw by Zaccolillo. A base hit that if it was on AstroTurf, they may have been able to get the runner at home plate. Here's that ball might have scooted out to Zaccolillo a little bit more. We saw in the first game a great slide. Here once again to the outside part of the plate. And you could see Ulrich doing his best to dive back in there and try and nip Galante. But Galante seemed to get his toes in just ahead of the tag. So once again, an excellent slide and a 1-0 lead for the St. John's Red Storm here in the bottom of the first.
Something with 2 for St. John's. Chris Fallon homered against Seton Hall, and boy, did he get all of it, too. He led off the second inning against St. John's, hitting a 3-2 pitch. Check that, I'm in the wrong inning. In the 7th inning is when he homered. Ahead in the count 1-0. Chris Fallon, a great story. As a youngster, battled back and beat leukemia. Is one of tomorrow's Children's Fund. Kids from Hackensack Hospital. Homered in the 7th inning. Good rip on that one.
Never saw it.
The thing about Fallon, we've seen in the last couple days, does not cheat himself. He goes up there, gets an honest hack.
But always in control. We saw that in the first game with him earlier today. He really has control of the bat. Nice compact swing.
Well, he is awfully concerned, Jeff Pierce, about the runner. And he might have had a 3-step lead. Runners at first and second here. 2 outs in the St. John's first. That's one of the big differences. College ball and professional and Major League Baseball. A lot of times they'll ignore that guy. It's just the timing. It's how you go to the plate. 1-1 pitch. On the inside corner, says Tony Gishondi. 1-2. Jeff Pierce trying to get out of a potentially dangerous situation. He's given up 1 run. 2 runners on right now. One, 2 to Fallon. Outside, 2-2. I want to talk about some gamers, fans and family and friends have stuck around late into the night here at Trent.
The 21st pitch about to be delivered here in the first inning by Jeff Pierce.
3-2 pitch. Slice left side.
It'll be at least 22 pitches that he now throws here in the first inning. And well, that's a lot of pitches to throw in the first inning. And obviously, with Rutgers having just played, and they went into their bullpen for a couple of innings as well. So it'll be interesting to see how long Fred Hill tries to walk the tightrope with an inexperienced starter.
Adjusted the count to 2-2. Check swing, they said he went. So they get a punch out on Fallon. But a run across for the Red Storm of St. John's. They did it with 1 hit. They leave 2. End of 1. St. John's 1, Rutgers nothing. And the final elimination game here in the Big East Tournament. Back here at Waterfront Park. Dave Sims, Bob Wischusen, and Mick Moninghoff getting ready for second inning action. St. John's Red Storm put a run up on the board, and you never get enough runs quickly enough.
back to Waterfront Park. Let's head downstairs right now to Mick Moningoff, who's standing by.
All right, thanks very much, gentlemen. Just hanging out here at the first base dugout with Ruth Graham. Now, she's the mom of Pete Graham, who's in right field for the Red Storm. But I'll tell you what, she's been here all day, and should your team win the ball game, you can't be here tomorrow.
No, we can't. We have to leave for our daughter's graduation at the University of Virginia tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
But still, it's been a lot of fun being here.
It's been great. We've been here since Wednesday.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's affected a lot of us, these late games. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Mick, thanks very much. Bob Wischusen and Dave Sims live at Waterfront Park as we head to the top of the third inning. Bottom of the order to start off here for Rutgers. Ken Ulrich, the catcher, against Kevin McGarry, the right-handed power starter for St. John's. That's a good slider in there for a called strike. And McGarry ahead in the count 0-2 to the Rutgers catcher. Ken Ulrich did not start the first game. Mike Popowski started the last game for Rutgers. Ulrich hitting .289 this year, no homers, 10 RBIs. Fastball misses way up high. And Ulrich stays alive, 1 ball and 2 strikes. The power pitcher McGarry against the 8-hitter, the catcher, Ken Ulrich. Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball just misses inside.
Take a look at McGarry and tell me he doesn't remind you of Curt Schilling. At a dress right here, the way he comes over the top, his whole motion is very reminiscent of Curt Schilling.
And you can see the outfield shaded several steps over towards right. Pete Graham, the right fielder, probably only about 10 or so paces off the line. The center fielder, Dan Neal, well over in the right center field gap against a right-handed hitter. That's the power pitcher's effect. Here's the 2-2, grounded wide of the third base back. So the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. There's a lot of room in left center field as a result. But when you've got a guy on the mound that can throw the kind of gas, especially early on in the game that McGarry can, you're going to shade your outfield well over towards right field, playing him to go the other way. It'll be a 2-2 once again to Ken Ulrich. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. Had no shot at that one. Flailed at it. First out here in the third, already the 4th strikeout for Kevin McGarry. Get another look at this pitch here, Dave.
Classic.
Flailing at it over the outside part of the plate. Ulrich had no chance. So Brian Simnicki, the 9-hitter, and the center fielder, coming up now with a 1 away for Rutgers here at the top of the third inning. They trail St. John's 1-0. First pitch on the outside corner for a called strike. Good fastball there. Simnicki hitting .297. No homers at 22 RBIs. Went 1 for 4 in Rutgers' previous game tonight. Next pitch to him, bluffs butt, and fouls it straight back over home plate and out of play.
That went not too far from us.
Today's attendance, 1,819 people, which sets a new single-day Big East record for the baseball championship here at Waterfront Park. Here's the 0-2 to Simnicki. Misses up high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. A 3-day total of 3,348 here at Waterfront Park, which again sets a new Big East record for the entire tournament. The old record was 33-23. Simnicki fouls one right back to the screen to stay alive at 0-2. So Big East baseball drawing the fans to Waterfront Park over the past few days.
Boy, somebody's really riding people down there. Somebody just said something.
The 0-2 driven into the right center field gap. Now it holds up and moves back towards center field, allowing Dan Neal to settle under it and make the catch. Simnicki gave it a charge, but he is retired for the second out of the inning. That ball had some slice on it. It started off as a gapper in right center field and kind of cut back to Dan Neal. And Neal was able to make the catch.
Good read, too. But what I was referring to before that pitch, I heard there's somebody, our Mike is picking up somebody, and he's just killing people now. They're talking about the guy coming out for St. John's to get the bats. He says, hey, can't afford a uniform for a big guy. Tough room. Jeez. Taking no prisoners.
First pitch to David DeJesus is fouled at the plate. DeJesus has the only Rutgers hit so far tonight. He led off the game with a double. Next pitch to him, down in the dirt, bouncing away from Robert Fierro, the catcher. And the count evens up at 1-1. 2 away, we're in the top of the third. The Scarlet Knights facing elimination, as are the Red Storm of St. John's. Here's the 1-1. Lined out towards shortstop and over the outstretched arm of Anthony Sutter into left center field for a base hit. So 2 hits so far in the game, surrendered by Kevin McGarry, both David DeJesus. DeJesus is a 2-out base runner here for Rutgers, for Darren Fenster.
Good looking hit by DeJesus. Slaps it right back up the middle.
Got just enough of it to sneak it over Anthony Sutter.
He's going down the left field line, and now he's going up the middle. Good use of the entire field.
So here's Darren Fenster with DeJesus on at first. McGarry comes set. Here's the pitch. On the outside corner, a good, fast, hard strike.
I'm telling you, everything about this kid is reminiscent of Curt Schilling. Big, strong, over the top. Works hard. And great movement.
Look, the 0-1 hits Fenster right in the middle of the bat. And that last pitch, the previous pitch, was an 89-mile-an-hour fastball. So you know when someone's stepping it up on the gun to the neighborhood of 90 miles an hour, you're going to need a little walk-off first base to shake off the ill effects of getting hit by a pitch. And
70 miles an hour, but it might have felt like 170 based on where it hit him, right at the 3. And you could see that McGarry was trying to break that off and didn't come over the top nearly enough, snapping that wrist, trying to throw a breaking ball.
Obviously the last thing McGarry wanted to do as well, because now with 2 outs, runners on first and second, an opportunity for Pete Zuccolillo. Totally fooled his first time up. He struck out in the first. The runners take their lead. Here's the pitch. Down to the dirt, bounces away from Fierro, and that allows both runners to advance. DeJesus to third, Fenster to second. Now, 2 runners in scoring position for the left-handed hitting Pete Zuccolillo.
It should be a wild pitch. So that bounce, that was about a 58-footer. 59-footer. Now Hero made a heck of an effort to try to get it, but really skipped it.
And here's a question now, Dave. Do you walk Zuccolillo if you get behind in the count especially? 1-0 with first base open. Granted, it's only the 3rd inning, but this is an elimination game.
Well, every run means a lot.
Line drive, base hit up the middle. 1 run will score. Here comes DeJesus. Rounding third, scoring easily, cruising home is Darren Fenster. Maybe they should have walked Pete Zuccolillo. It's a 2-out, 2 RBI single.
Well, McGarry's one of the best that St. John's has, and certainly Zuccolillo is the best that Rutgers had. Mano a mano, and that time Pete won.
2-1, Rutgers on top. You can see it's a fastball on the outside part of the plate, and Zuccolillo gets the fat of the bat on the baseball.
Cardinal rule about fastballs, be as hard as they want, as fast as you want them, but if they don't move, and if they just sit there, they're in trouble.
Your ERA's higher than a pitcher.
Here's Jake Daubert. Fastball catching the outside part of the plate for strike 1. Daubert grounded out to first his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Coming into tonight hitting .365, 8 home runs and 68 RBIs. Here's the pitch to him. Swung on and missed, down in the dirt, swung at a ball there. And McGarry ahead in the count, 0-2.
One after a pitcher's pitch. Jake struggling a little bit, grounded out the first last time out. He hadn't had a good swing in a while.
On the outside corner, called strike 3. So McGarry picks up his 5th strikeout through only 3 innings of play, and that retires the side. But a 2 RBI single for Pete Zuccolillo. Rutgers gets a couple back. They lead 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the 3rd on CNA.
It's Thunder Rumble time! CNA's got Trenton Thunder Baseball. The boys of summer are taking the field, chasing their dreams of playing in the major leagues. Be part of the fun. Catch the Thunder Rumble on CNA. There's Boomer for the kids and prizes too. It's exciting baseball for the whole family. The stars of tomorrow's Philadelphia Phillies come to Waterfront Park. Don't miss the action as the Thunder take on the Reading Phillies Wednesday night at 7.
Imagine moving faster at speeds you've only dreamed of. Now you can with high-speed cable internet service from Comcast at Home. And with savings of $100, now is the best time to sign up and get going. With Comcast at Home, you'll rocket through the web up to 100 times faster, navigate with ease, and see extraordinary content. So blast off to an internet others can only dream of. Call 888-983-HOME to get Comcast at Home today and save $100. Hurry, this offer won't last. Call 888-983-HOME now.
Bob Wischusen and Dave Sims. We are live at Waterfront Park. The late one The fourth game of the day in the Big East tournament to be played here in Trenton. A game that was supposed to be played tomorrow, but they decided to play tonight because the weather forecast for tomorrow not good, and they want to at least get the championship game in. That will take place tomorrow at noon, a game we'll have for you on CN8. And there is Jeff Pierce, the right-hander for Rutgers, who now has the lead 2-1, and he faces 2, 3, and 4 in the St. John's lineup as we head to the bottom of the third. Matt Galante, the second baseman, who walked and eventually came around to score the lone St. John's run, his first time up in the first. First pitch to him, all the way back to the screen, ball one.
Last weather report I heard, and obviously this is some time ago, but they were talking about weather changing into rain at about 4 a.m. So even if that were to occur, if that's the scenario, if it rains for a little bit and then clears, be able to get that championship game in no problem.
Well, let me tell you something. If they want me here at 2 because the rain's coming at 4, they're out of luck. This pitch to Galante is inside. 2 balls and no strikes. And there we go. The severe weather possibility taking place right now down in Virginia as we give you a little bit of Weather Channel here on CN8. Some of our cable partners helping us out. Trying to get you the weather forecast as best we can. That's up in the restaurant here in Trenton. And this one off the fists of Galante, out of play. So the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And there looks to be some green actually creeping through Pennsylvania. You can see right now on its way here.
Looks like it's not far from here, just around the Philly area, which is only about 35 miles from here. Galante's dad, Matt, was on the St. John's 1966 College World Series team.
There's the 2-2. Outside, just missed. And the count runs full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Following in the steps of his father, Matt Sr. was also a second baseman. He combined with Joe Russo, longtime coach at St. John's. Double play combination for Jack Kaiser with the then St. John's Redmen back in '66 in the World Series.
Galante had 290 last year in 30 games for St. John's and draws another walk. A fastball misses inside. So Pierce so far tonight has struggled mightily with his control. That's the second walk to Matt Galante alone. We're only in the top of the third. He has yet to record an out here in the third inning, and he has already walked 3 men and hit another. So 4 free men on the base paths for St. John's. Jeff Pierce living dangerously. And here's Mike Zarilla. Zarilla coming into tonight hitting .418 with 16 home runs and 64 RBIs. First pitch to him, misses inside. The numbers on Zarilla staggering. Last year he led the team with a .427 batting average and scored 60 runs to go along with 9 home runs and 49 RBIs. Here's the pitch to him. That one misses inside as well. He was named to the 3rd team All-American. His batting average of .427 was the 19th highest in the country and the 2nd highest in St. John's history. Just when you thought he couldn't improve on that, though, he comes in this year and hits .414 with more homers and more RBIs. And this one ripped down the left field line. Trouble if it's fair, but it curves foul into the Rutgers bullpen.
Made him scatter in the Rutgers bullpen.
But that's good because they got out of the way of our CN8 sign, so we can show you where we are. I think that's
scrambled. Pay attention to the game, fellas.
And I think that's the sophomore Jimmy Wilson down there in the left field corner. I bet he knew he was on television there as he gave us a little wave. So it goes as a long, hard strike in the column for Jeff Pierce. Here's the 2-1 to Zarilla. Just misses inside. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Tell you what, he just missed having that one leave the ballpark too. That pitch did not have a whole lot of bite on it.
Zarilla's slugging percentage this year, .759. And they check the runner back to first base, and Galante in standing. A .759 slugging percentage.
You know, if you're the coach in the other team, you say, hey, timeout. I want to have, is there a doctor in the house? Can you check this guy?
It'll be a 3-1. Here it is. High fly ball lifted to shallow center field, hanging up for Brian Simnicki. Gets under it, makes the catch to retire Zarilla, and there's now 1 away, chasing Galante back to first base.
They had a green light on 3-1 and just got under it. Dropped that back shoulder a little bit more than he wanted. Didn't come through the way he normally would. If he comes through that ball, he probably hits it over the 385, the gap in 385 up against the wall or over the wall.
That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Pete Graham, who was hit by a pitch his first time up. That was in the first, and once again, they check Galante back over to first base. Galante, not much of a base-stealing threat. Stole 6 bases this year, 6 for 9 during the regular season. And once again, though, Jeff Pierce treating him as if he's Lou Brock. Heads back over to first, and there is Jeff Graham. Jeff Graham's mother. Saving all this for posterity. Mick Moninghoff had an opportunity to talk with her a little bit earlier on. And there's a fast strike on the inside corner. No balls and 1 strike to Pete Graham. Graham hitting .337 on the year, 8 homers and 42 RBI. Pierce ahead in the count, 0-1. Comes set. Checks the runner. Here's the pitch. Misses inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Pierce trying to live on the inside part of the plate. Came inside several times to Mike Zarilla. And now to the right-handed hitting Pete Graham, trying to do the same. Galante leads off first there via the 3rd walk of the night issued by Pierce. We're only in the 3rd. Here's the pitch. Hammered towards short, on a line to Fenster. He makes the catch quickly, looks at first base, but Galante had not strayed far enough to double him up, and there are 2 away.
Hit it hard, right on the nose. Defense covering that play nicely for Rutgers. Pete Graham got it, hit it well. Well struck, couldn't find a hole.
And including this game, by the way, Dave, we get another look at this one. Fenster had him played perfectly, and you can see he was thinking about going to first, as now Eric Potts, the designated hitter, stands in.
Ooh.
And got nicked. The 2nd time in this game that Jeff Pierce has hit a batter to go along with 3 walks issued so far. So he has allowed 5 free base runners for St. John's as he nicks Eric Potts. And apparently the home plate umpire, Tony Gisondi, signaling that Potts was hit on the hand. So obviously Ken Ulrich now wants to walk out and talk to Jeff Pierce.
Well, in the continuing effort to work the inside part of the plate, ball ran in on him, and could be a trouble spot here. 2 out and 2 on.
Runners on first and second with 2 men out. Here's Chris Fallon, who had a big first game for St. John's. Here's the pitch to him. Down and away for a ball. 1-0. Made mention of this before, including this game tonight. 129 runs have now been scored in the Big East tournament. That's a new championship record for runs scored in an entire tournament, and there has been at least 1 home run in every game up until this one.
Not a pitcher's paradise.
Got one right here.
From the throw it and duck school of pitching.
1-1 the count to Chris Fallon. And Fallon delivered one of those home runs earlier on today in the St. John's win over Seton Hall. Here's the 1-1. On the outside corner. Good pitch that time from Jeff Pierce. And he's ahead in the count now. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Fallon's a dead fastball hitter. If you're going to throw a fastball, you definitely do not want to be on the inner 3rd.
Hitting .359 this year, 11 home runs, 32 RBIs. Here's the pitch. Tapped back up through the box towards second base. Fielded in 1 motion, stepping on second is Fenster to get the force, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits, 2 men left. We played 3 at Waterfront Park. Rutgers on top, 2-1 over St. John's. The winner goes to the championship game tomorrow.
Here they come, clickety-clack down the track. It's lots and lots of trains. 2 of the greatest train videos we've ever offered. And now through this special TV offer, you get 2 videos for the price of 1. You'll get big trains, little trains, steam trains, diesel freight and passenger trains, even trains that blow through snow, old trains, new trains, fast trains, slow trains, smoking trains, even trains from around the world, plus toy trains, trolley trains, and much, much more when you order lots and lots of trains. Hear the whistle blow, feel the heat, smell the smoke as they these titans of the tracks thunder on by. You'll love lots and lots of trains. And remember, this spectacular 2-tape set is not available in stores. So hop on board and get 2 great tapes for 1 great price. Get lots and lots of trains.
If you love trains, don't miss out. Call 1-800-818-2220 to get these fantastic train videos for just $19.95 plus shipping. Your satisfaction is guaranteed, and this special offer is not available in stores. So call 1-800-818-2220.
Front Park, Rutgers on top of St. John's 2-1. Standing by downstairs, our very own Mick Moninghoff.
Thanks, Bob. I'm here with John Triola. He's a sophomore pitcher at St. John's, but a back injury relegated him to jugs gun duty. So far tonight, how's McGarry been doing?
Yeah, he's throwing hard. He's hitting 90 like he usually does. Hopefully, he'll keep it up there for a few more innings, get some quality innings out of him.
Well, that one came in about what?
That one was about 88 right there.
McGarry seems to be getting some good ones. Just give me one more. See what McGarry lines up here.
87.
87-mile-an-hour fastball. So Mr. Triola gets the jugs gun duty, and I'll tell you what. Did you ever think that you'd be playing a ball game here after 10:30 at night at Waterfront Park and your team just one away from going on to the big show?
I'll tell you, Mick, not really, but it's a lot better this way. I don't know if you heard about if we don't get the game tomorrow due to rain here, Notre Dame automatically gets the championship. So I believe that's why we're playing so late tonight.
Well, that would be a tough way to go for anybody because Notre Dame already went 2 and out. Well, they did have one win, though. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Mick, thanks very much. And he's exactly right. You get a look at a clean single to right field off the bat of Mike O'Brien. His first hit tonight. He's now 1 for 2 off Kevin McGarry. McGarry basically living in the upper 80s to around 90 miles an hour with that fastball. But I guess if there is no clear-cut champion tomorrow in the championship game, should there be a rainout, they revert to the regular season statistics and the standings. And although Notre Dame's already been knocked out of the tournament, they were the regular season champions.
They did have a heck of a year. They weren't real productive here. That's for sure.
Joe B. Cerrone is the pinch hitter. Cerrone hitting in place of Todd Speedy. So Speedy, the designated hitter, done for the evening. And here's the pitch to Cerrone. Misses outside. And the count evens up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Cerrone hitting .365 on the year with 2 home runs and 12 RBIs. Sort of unusual that Fred Hill would decide to hit for his designated hitter in only the 4th inning, but that's what he's done. And a swing and a tap foul at the plate. So Cerrone now behind McGarry. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Spells Cerrone C-I-R-O-N-E, a little bit different from ex-Yankee and Seton Hall product Rick Cerrone. Spells it C-E-R-O-N-E.
The runner at first is Mike O'Brien, taking his lead behind McGarry. Here's the pitch. Taken just up around the letters. Cerrone gets the benefit of the doubt. The count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Oh, guy, right now, up for right now. Smells up there.
McGarry comes set. Once again, checking O'Brien. Here's the pitch to Cerrone. Swung on and missed. Blew that one past him on the outside part of the plate. Cerrone goes down swinging. So Speedy, the first designated hitter, went down looking. Now Cerrone goes down swinging. The 6th strikeout for McGarry.
Had a little extra hop on that one, that last couple of feet. Saw it really rise up in the strike zone. So 1 down here in the 4th.
Here's Matt Walski, the second baseman. He struck out his first time up. That was in the 2nd. 50 pitches already in the game. That's number 51 for Kevin McGarry, and it misses outside for ball 1. Walski went down swinging to end the 2nd. And they check O'Brien back to first base. O'Brien is going nowhere. Matt Walski, who did not play in the first game for Rutgers, getting the opportunity here and lifts one up the right field line. Floating foul, curving back near the wall and out of play off the batting cage. Walski, only a .250 hitter this year without a home run and 20 RBIs, and with the strikeout in the first inning, his batting average dips down to .248. 1 ball and 1 strike, 1 away. We're in the top of the 4th. Rutgers got a 2-out, 2 RBI single from Pete Zuccolillo in the top of the 3rd to take a 2-1 lead over St. John's. O'Brien takes his lead. The pitch down in the dirt. Did he go around? They appeal to first. Yes, he did.
It's not automatic.
Check that, Pete Amoroso apparently saying he did not go around. I thought he actually brought his right arm around to say that he did, but apparently he was signaling that he was safe, so the count goes
1-2, 1-2.
Oh, so they were wrong up on the scoreboard. I was right. It looked like Amoroso had punched to say that he had gone around, so it is a 1-ball, 2-strike count to Wolski. Here's the pitch. Tapped foul at the plate, so he stays alive at 1-2.
Stay right there now, Max. Stay right now.
Wolski split time with Marciniak, Jeff Marciniak, who was the second baseman of the first game tonight for Rutgers. He was all-county 4 straight years in high school, and he takes a ball inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. So this is basically the way Fred Hill played that position all year. Half the time Marciniak, half the time Wolski. Marciniak got the start in the loss a couple of hours ago here on CN8 to Providence. Now in the extreme nightcap, Wolski gets the start and lines one hard out towards left field. Bilicic back towards the wall, but it goes over his head and one hops the wall. O'Brien coming all the way around from first base. He will score standing up. It's an RBI double for Matt Wolski to left field. And St. John's now in a 3-1 hole. Rutgers on top by 2.
Just about to say that Wolski had not had, in that at-bat, had not had a quality swing. Got fooled, looked like he was guessing. This time, authoritatively, just creams one to the gap in left center. It was a good job of hitting.
Bilicic never had an opportunity to get after that one. So Wolski now on at second base in scoring position for Ken Ulrich. The Scarlet Knight catcher struck out his first time up in the 3rd. And here's the pitch. Down in the dirt, blocked nicely by Fierro.
Boy, did he give up his body for that one. Good job.
The winner of this game gets an opportunity tomorrow to play Providence for the conference championship. You can see Ulrich so far tonight 0 for 1. He struck out in the 3rd. And on his way out to the mound now, Ed Blankmeyer, the head coach for the St. John's Red Storm, to talk to Kevin McGarry, his right-hander. And they call the entire infield in here.
Give him a new arm, one.
To have a little meeting at the mound.
It's all about throwing strikes. Let's get out of this with a runner on second and 1 down.
May have just been buying some time for the guys out in the bullpen. There is some warm-up action going. The right-hander is Lou Santucci. He did not pitch earlier on today. So Lou Santucci getting loosened quickly in the bullpen. And although Kevin McGarry is the ace of this staff, if you're Ed Blankmeyer in an elimination game, you might go to Santucci and have a little bit of a quicker hook than you would normally, giving McGarry the benefit of the doubt. Now he faces Ulrich, and he's down in the dirt. 2 balls and no strikes. The runner at second base is Matt Wolski, there via an RBI double. Ulrich, a .289 hitter this year. Only 10 RBIs in an RBI situation here. Here's the 2-0. Flared out into right. Graham on the run in the right center field gap. Under it, makes the catch. Tagging on his way to third is Wolski. The throw wide of the bag. Wolski makes it there easily. So Ulrich flies out to right, but moves Wolski from second to third for Brian Semnicki.
Throw is well offline. The throw from Pete Graham. He had a lot on it. Didn't have a shot to get Wolski at third.
So now the potential 4th run for Rutgers, 90 feet away. And here's the 9-hitter, Brian Semnicki, who gave it a ride his first time up, drilled one into center field. Dan Neal, the center fielder, was able to make the play, though. He's 0 for 1. Here's the pitch. Hammered out into right field. It could get down on the run. Graham makes a running catch before it gets down. So Semnicki hits it hard twice. Hit it hard in the 3rd. Now he hits it hard in the 4th. But both times flies out. Wolski is stranded, but not before Rutgers able to tack on another run. They lead 3-1 as we head to the bottom of the 4th on CN8.
Okay, here's your wish list for everything you want your TV to be. You want as many as 170 channels with all your local stations and at least twice the movies you get now. You want an on-screen guide that you control, but you don't want to buy equipment or an old-fashioned rooftop antenna. And you want it all right now. Well, guess what? You've got it now with Comcast Digital Cable. For less than $10 more a month, you can call today and we'll upgrade you before you know it. Comcast Digital Cable. Give us a call.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! What am I, a clown to you, huh? I'm here for your amusement? Funny how? How am I funny?
For people who really get into movies, we introduce Comcast Digital Cable, a way to get up to 170 channels and up to twice the movies, just $9.95 more each month, and get a 30-day money-back guarantee.
You know what the difference is between you and me? I make this look good.
Order Comcast Digital Cable today.
Return to the play.
Bottom of the fourth inning.
Thank you.
As the St. John's Red Storm in the road Grays, but the home team in our elimination game tonight, late here at Waterfront Park. They've got themselves into a 3-1 hole against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, and it will be Charles Biliziction to lead off this inning against Jeff Pierce.
Everybody run to the bases this one.
Biliziction popped out to second his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Hitting .337 on the year. Here's the first pitch from Pierce. Overhand curve that misses inside, ball 1. Rain's held off so far. Shh. Thank you. Here's the 1-0 to Biliziction. Takes it inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Jeff Pierce trying to come inside, both times unsuccessful. Halfway to the century mark for Pierce. Here's the 2-0. That one's in there for a called strike. Good pitch on the outside part of the plate, 2-1. Bottom of the fourth. 2 runs for Rutgers in the top of the third. A single run at the top of the fourth to take a 3-1 lead. Here's the pitch. Just off the inside part of the plate, 3-1. And Dave, so far, this is the only time that Pierce has got himself into trouble. He's only sacrificed 1 hit so far, but a bunch of base runners.
Yep. 3-1 deep count. Let's see. Last inning, he ran 2 deep counts, a 3-2 and a 3-1.
Here is the 3-1, and he missed inside, and once again, a free pass. Sooner or later, it's going to come back and burn him if he continues to give up free base runners, but that's the 4th walk to go along with 2 hit batsmen.
Lack of control, throw strikes. They take you out with nobody on. Really not that much harm done. You start loading up, you get behind, and somebody goes deep on you. It changes the complexion of the game in a heartbeat.
7 base runners have now reached for St. John's, only 1 there via a hit. And here's the shortstop, Anthony Sutter. Biliziction off first, and they check him back to first. Sutter 0 for 1. He popped out to short his first time up in the second, hitting .314 on the year. Here's the pitch. Squares to bunt, bluffs, pulls the bat back, and takes the ball outside, 1-0.
Nice to be young, to be playing your second game and have plenty of life left here at 3 minutes before 11. Oh, brother.
That's Charles Biliziction taking a lead off first. Here's the pitch to Sutter on the outside corner. Spotted one there nicely. 1 ball and 1 strike. The count evens up. Basically playing Sutter straight away. There's some room on the right side. David DeJesus shaded out of your picture in right field. Big gap in right center. Here's the 1-1. Sutter bluffs bunt, pulls the bat back, and almost gets hit. Scary moment there for Anthony Sutter. That one got right up in his kitchen.
Don't blame me. The living room, kitchen, the whole house.
2 balls and 1 strike to the St. John's shortstop. And they check Biliziction back to first once again. Bilizichin did steal 16 bases this year, so he is a threat to run. 2-1, a good count to go on. Not going here. Ground ball right back up through the box and into center field for a base hit. Brian Simnicki, the center fielder for Rutgers, was playing him right back up the middle, so he charged and got to that ball quickly. Bilizichin has to stop at second, but the first two men here in the fourth inning reach for St. John's.
Good spot here for St. John's. 7 and 8 hitters get on quickly. 9-hole hitter can afford a sacrifice here and then get back to the top of your order. Good situation, and I'm sure Freddie Hill recognizing that Blankmeyer and company in pretty good position right now to get back in this game in a heartbeat. They can put the runners in scoring position and set St. John's up to tie the game with the folks in the 1, 2, 3 spots.
Bilizichin on at second, Sutter on at first, and Fred Hill talking to his young right-hander, Jeff Pierce. Fred Hill in his 16th season at Rutgers. He has won 500 games in a Rutgers uniform. His 500th win coming in the Big East tournament in a win over Providence a couple of days ago.
Freddie's a good guy. Speaks straight talker, great sense of humor, loves baseball and loves working with the kids.
Now in the 11 o'clock hour, only in the bottom of the fourth inning, in the fourth game to take place here today in the Big East tournament at Waterfront Park. That brings up Robert Fierro, the catcher and the number 9 hitter. Nobody out, runners on first and second. St. John's down by 2. Here's the pitch. Fierro bluffs bunt, pulls the bat back and takes the ball.
Brian, the first baseman, hard charging. Third baseman Jake Dalbert was holding his ground.
Time is called as a ball gets away from the left field bullpen where a couple of guys for Rutgers are loosening.
Tell you what, you know it's a long day. I've had to go now to my ink pen here to keep score because my pencil broke and I got a brand new mechanical pencil. I don't know how to reload the daggone thing.
The bunt dropped down, fielded by Daubert. Has only one play, that's the first. The sacrifice successful. Fierro gets the job done. It's a sacrifice. 5-4 as O'Brien was charging and the runners move up, and the entire team off the bench for St. John's to let their catcher know that they appreciate the job he just did giving himself up.
Perfect setup, just like we talked about. Laid it down, made the third baseman make the play, so that would leave third base open. And Fierro accomplishes his mission. Make the third baseman make the play. You don't want to run it to the first baseman who's coming right down your throat here and maybe get a chance to get the force at third base.
One away now, runners on second and third for Dan Neal. First pitch to Neal on the outside corner. Good pitch for Pierce for a called strike. Neal's 0 for 2. Flew out to left his first time up in the first, and in the second, grounded out to first. Behind in the count, 0-1. Pierce comes set. Bilizichin at third, Sutter at second. Here's the pitch to Neal. Up around the letters. 1 ball and 1 strike. Can't afford to be careful here with Neal Day. Obviously, even with first base open, can't give extra base runners to the guys that come up behind the leadoff hitter for St. John's.
Got to make good pitches here. Plain and simple, you and him.
Here's the 1-1. In there for a called strike. Looked like a change. It fooled Neal a bit. Ed Blankmeyer, the head coach for St. John's, knows only one job right now for his leadoff hitter. Swing the bat, 1-2.
Shade Neal a couple of steps towards the left. Huge gap in right center.
Here is the 1-2. Swung out and missed. So down goes Neal. Big strikeout for Jeff Pierce, and they're 2 away.
That's what you need. The strikeout was just what Rutgers needed. They had to have it, and they could use another one right here. Galante's walked first 2 times up, and oh, gorgeous 12-6 breaking ball.
Way out in front was Dan Neal. Only the 3rd strikeout so far for Jeff Pierce. The runners holding at second and third. Bilizichin at third. Sutter at second. And here's Matt Galante, the second baseman. First pitch to Galante. In there for a called strike. And it's been rare so far in this game that Pierce throw Galante a strike. He walked him his first time up in the first and walked him in the third as well. 0-1 the count, 2 away. Bottom of the fourth, and now time called, allowing Galante to step out.
Playing Galante towards the left and not too deep.
Here's the 0-1.
Oh, jeez.
And that one hit him hard. That was right on the number. I think up around the shoulder or right in the middle of the back of Matt Galante. And Fred Hill at some point may have to walk out there and really have a good talking to with Pierce. Going to get another look at this one and also a good listen to it.
Ooh, man. That's a third time. They got Graham in the first. They got Potts in the third, and now Galante here in the fourth.
So Jeff Pierce, who's a guy that really is known for his control, puts himself in the worst possible position. 2 outs, the base is now loaded. The third batter that he has hit, and he's facing Mike Zarilla. Zarilla 0 for 2 so far tonight. Struck out in the first, flew out to center in the third, hitting .414 on the year. Here's the pitch to him. Down in the dirt, blocked nicely by Ulrich, smothered at home plate, the runner's hole.
He's got to make pitches here. Nowhere to put this guy. If you don't make a good pitch, if you leave it hanging out on the plate, this could be a 5-3 game in a heartbeat. Or less than.
Zarilla has 16 home runs this year. That's a new St. John's record. The pitch to him. High fly ball out towards left field. In left center, Sinicki and Zuccolillo. It will be Sinicki, and on one knee, he makes the catch. That one was in no man's land, and Sinicki finally had to take over. They're living on the edge. Jeff Pierce retires Zarilla, and they strand 3. We'll head to the top of the 5th. Still, Rutgers holding on to the 3-1 lead over St. John's on CN8.
Looking for a second opinion? Then call one of Philadelphia's most renowned physicians, Hester Sonder, on CN8's Calling Dr. Sonder.
If you suffer from severe pelvic pain around your periods, have painful sex, abnormal bleeding, or rectal or bladder pain associated with menstrual periods, you may have endometriosis. Join us when we discuss this most mysterious condition.
That's next time on Calling Dr. Sonder, Monday nights at 9 o'clock, only on CN8. CN8, connected to your world.
We're your connection to top issues. If you care about it, we're talking about it on It's Your Call.
We're your sports fix. Highlights, stats, interviews, and your calls nightly on Sports Talk.
We're the connection to help make your family's life easier, happier, and healthier on Family Talk.
We're your connection to the best sports, from your kids' high school games to the hottest teams around the region.
We're connected to your world. We're CN8,
the Comcast Network.
We're back at Waterfront Park. Bob Wischusen and Dave Sims up here in the booth, and down in the stands, let's check in once again with Mick Munninghoff.
All right, thanks very much. Standing by with Mary McGarry. Your son's pitching a pretty good ball game tonight for St. John's. He's been throwing close to 90 miles an hour.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear. He does that a lot.
It's been a big day because 2 ball games and it's 2 for 1, basically.
I know, we're tired, but we're going to win tonight.
Also, I understand you're a big fan of Paul Dillon and Let's Cook.
Oh, yeah. Well, my husband's the bigger fan, but I sit and watch. We enjoy your station.
Of course, that's a show seen regularly here on CN8. I'm sure Bob Wischusen's been doing all the promos all night long. Right, Bob?
Absolutely, Mick. Let's Cook, one of my favorite programs. If you get a look at my frame, you'll understand why. Once again with the play-by-play, though, now, here's Dave Sims.
Thank you, Bob. Fouled off the right side by David DeJesus. 1-1 the count. Here in the 5th inning. 3-5-0 for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. For St. John's, 1-2-0. Here's a 1-1 pitch. And again, that pitch slip right out of his hands. Tried to get the curveball. He's been throwing, like they like to talk about, that good yacker over the top. 2-1. Fastball hit to the second baseman, Galante. And he gets the out, 1 down. One down here in the Rutgers 5th. It'll bring up Darren Fenster, the two-hole hitter for the Scarlet Knights.
The shortstop, Darren Fenster.
Tell you what, the way both of these pitchers are throwing. We got Pierce has hit 3 batters. Fenster was hit his last time up. Got to be up there and be ready to move. Slammed right at Galante. 2 down.
Not the first time we've seen that so far today. And there's really nothing you can do if you're Darren Fenster. The object is to get up there and hit it hard somewhere. And you'll hear during this replay, he hit it hard.
I know the economics of the situation that colleges and universities get to save a lot of money, but I sure would be glad when they go back to wood bats. That's hit pretty well. Deep right center field. Pete Graham on the warning track, and he makes the catch. A very quick inning for Kerry McGarry. 3 up and 3 down. We go to the home fifth. It's 3-1 Rutgers.
On CN8's Let's Cook with Paul Dillon, meals become masterpieces. Your kitchen, a symphonic hall, and you're the maestro every night.
You know, when you buy fish, there are certain ways to tell if it's fresh. When you buy red snapper, there's a way to know if it's red snapper. And you can also take sausage and cook it with clams. I'll show you how on Let's Cook.
That's tonight, only on CN8's Let's Cook with Paul Dillon. Brought to you by Hudson County Community College.
We kind of have a job on Family Talk to make your family's life a little better. Maybe it's health information you can't get anywhere else. Maybe it's new insights on how to talk to your kids. Maybe it's little-known tips on finances that can save or make you a few dollars. Family Talk tries to make your life easier, happier, and healthier. Oh, and to have a little fun along the way. It's who we are. It's what we do. Family Talk on CN8.
Family Talk at 6:30 on CN8, the Comcast network.
Welcome back, everybody. 3-1 Rutgers over the St. John's Red Storm. So we head to the bottom of the fifth inning. Trenton Thunder. This is their home ballpark. It's a beauty. Here in Trenton, New Jersey, right on the Delaware River. And the Thunder return home for a game against the Reading Phillies on May 26th at 7 p.m.
And we'll have that game for you here on CN8. It's part of a great 20-game Thunder package on CN8. You can watch the entire CN8 Thunder schedule and visit CN8 Sports on the web at www.cn8.com. And once again, the Trenton Thunder back here at Waterfront Park Wednesday night, May 26th, live at 7 p.m. on CN8 against the Reading Phillies.
Working the inside corner is Jeff Pearson for strike one to Pete Graham. It'll be 4, 5, and 6. Graham, Potts, and Fallon for St. John's. Graham hit by a pitch and lined out to the shortstop. He's 0 for 2. Hit hard down the line. Fair ball. Gets past Daubert. Graham digging hard for 2. And he's going to get down and just beat it. Nice recovery by Zuccolillo in that left field corner. But a double for Pete Graham to start the fifth inning for St. John's.
I never thought Zuccolillo would be able to make this play as close as he made it. But you're exactly right, Dave. He hopped on top of this ball that is just fair over the bag. Excellent call by the third base umpire, Jay DeSantos, right on top of that one. And watch Zuccolillo get to this one quickly and fire a strike to second base.
And that pays because Graham was out of the box in a hurry and ran hard all the way. Here's Eric Potts. I wonder how many times he's been called Potsy. Single to left in the first. Was hit by a pitch in the third. Can he sing, though? I don't believe I'm doing Happy Days references. I never really liked that show.
I love Anson Williams.
Fan club. Back up through the box. Dive. Knocked it down. And the dive by Wolski prevents the run from scoring. So an infield single by Potts. And Wolski did a heck of a job to keep the runner at third base.
It's an infield hit. There's really no other way to score it. Absolutely, Dave, and a good point that you make. Although Wolski has no opportunity to get Potts at first base, at least for the time being, he does save a run.
I can hear my old coach, Mage McDonald, who works with the Phillies. Boys, knock it down when you got a runner at second base in a situation like that. Eat some dirt. Keep the double play in order. There's something going here for St. John's. Here's Chris Fallon, 0 for 2. Fly ball left field. Zuccolillo going back. This should be good enough to score the run. He makes the catch. Here comes Graham with the second run. So a sack fly, RBI for Chris Fallon, his 33rd ribby of the season, and St. John's now trails 3-2.
Productive out there from Fallon, and he has been productive at the plate all day long for the St. John's Red Storm, and now they draw back within a run at 3-2. This inning obviously not over. Jeff Pierce has labored at times tonight. He has problems with his control. This really the first inning where St. John's has hit him hard.
One down. Here's Charles Biljic. Help me out on this pronunciation again. I know it's late. It's 11:14.
I believe it's Bilizikchin.
Bilizikchin. I'm generally good with Armenian names.
That was listed in your bio as one of your specialties, yes.
Runner goes, ripped down the left field line. Hit and run, worked beautifully. Blankmeyer will wave his runners to second and third. A stand-up double for Charlie B.
And Bilizikchin goes down hard at second base, and he's hurt.
You know what happened? He didn't slide. He tried to come to a standing stop, and that's why you do the pop-up slide. And he may have really done some damage to that knee. And that's a shame after a key base hit. Sets up St. John's second and third.
Strange, too, Dave, because the throw came into third base to the cutoff man, Darren Fenster. But as he came around second base, I can't believe that Bilizikchin couldn't see that there wasn't going to be a play on him. He was actually able to slow up a bit before he went into second base. I think it's just sort of dumb luck.
Well, what happened? He didn't break it down. He should have broken it down a little bit earlier. Runs hard here. And right about here, he could have broke it down. Oh, and he made a misstep. Jeez. Oh, you hate to see that.
He did. You could see his ankle turn over, no question about it. But it was just a freak accident. He didn't even make contact with the bag. He just took a funny step on his way to second base. And now they're checking out to see if there could be any type of fracture.
You know, you
I'm
hate
sure
to see
that's
that. I think, what's in order in a situation like that? If you're not sure, just do a little pop-up slide. It breaks some momentum. It's safe. But when you try to break it down, here's the misstep right there. And then when he plants, boom.
Exactly. And he's going to have to.
Didn't break it down soon enough. Let's see if he's going to gut it out.
It looks like he's going to try and walk this one off. He's going to have to walk it off in the outfield just for a second. But it looks like it was just a turn of the ankle, and he's going to be able to stay in the game. And I'm guessing if there was some type of a fracture, he wouldn't be able to do that.
I think that's a good read.
So it looks like Charles Bilizikchin is going to be able to stay in the game.
He's tough. He's a baseball player.
Boy, he laced that ball down the left field line as well. And now, in the bigger picture for Jeff Pierce, trouble. He has a one-run lead, one away. The potential go-ahead run at second base, the potential tying run at third, only 90 feet away.
Anthony Sutter steps in, 1 for 2. As we look at Bilizikchin, really did a good job turning on a high pitch. Anthony Sutter with a chance to give St. John's the lead. That pitch is in there, 4 strike 1. We're in the home fifth. And take a look. Pitch up in his eyes. Boy, he turned on it. Good swing. Sutter popped out to the shortstop and singled to center. Behind in the count 0-1. Fouls it back left side.
Much as Jeff Pierce has struggled so far in this game, Dave, at times, especially with his control. On the scoreboard, he's still ahead, and if he can get a big strikeout here against the bottom of the order, he could still pitch himself out of trouble.
He's got 1 down, runners at second and third. They play Sutter straight away, not too deep.
I'm sure with this being the second game today that Rutgers has played as well, Fred Hill wants to try and get Pierce through this inning and maybe one more.
Take what he can get. 0-2 pitch. Didn't miss by much. Did not miss by much. Sutter, the all-star out of Tottenville High School in Staten Island. Went to Brookdale Community College. Big Chipper Jones fan. 1-2 pitch from Jeff Pierce. High pitch driven into the gap in right center. That's going to give St. John's the lead. Potts is going to score. Bilizichin scores. And into second is Sutter. A 2-run double. St. John's takes a 4-3 lead.
That's the third double for St. John's already in this inning. The fourth hit that they've registered in this inning. And we'll see if Fred Hill decides to stick with the young right-hander Jeff Pierce here. But they are hitting him hard. For the first time in this game, they are hitting him very hard. And this, a hanger, a breaking ball that did not break. It hung right around the belt. And Sutter drilled it into the right center field gap. Actually, a pretty good job by Simnicki getting over there in time to make the play at second as close as it could have been.
Disheartening for Rutgers, this damage being done by the bottom of the order. Here's the 9-hole hitter, the catcher Robert Fierro. Certainly the emotion and the energy has returned to that St. John's dugout. Kicked it up several notches. Fierro ahead in the count. 1-0. Look out inside.
Having a chauffeur anyway. Ford Escort ZX.
Crowd that plate, so when you see him turn, you really, I mean, that pitch, he's finding the inside corner. It's just that the player's really doing a good job of crowding the plate. 1-1 to Fierro. Good rip. Couldn't catch up to it. St. John's with 3 here. Bottom 3 lead.
They had the lead to start off the game in the first inning, up 1-0. Rutgers came back, took a 3-1 lead. Now, as you said, St. John's has answered with 3 here in the 5th to take a 4-3 lead, so we go back and forth. The winner of this game moves on to the championship game tomorrow. The loser goes home.
Season over, out of time. In the dirt, no advancement by the runner. 2-2 the count. Still only 1 down here in the 5th. This is the 9-hole hitter. Got Dan Neal on deck, the leadoff man. Dan would love to break his 0-for-3 night. See what they come up with. Fierro, 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball hit to the shortstop, and he bobbled it. E6. St. John's inning lives. Still with 1 out, they get 2 on.
Fenster tried to sidearm this one, sort of come at it with the Matador on the run. It's a slow roller, and he had to charge it to get the speedy Fierro, but the ball, instead of coming up into Fenster's glove, kind of sticks in the dirt.
The other thing, too, he came up on it. Sort of like Mike Gosselin. Instead of staying down and through, he came up on it.
That's true. His glove was not down against the dirt. Absolutely true.
Boy, Neal tried to get a 3-run jack there. Let's get a Mick Meininghoff.
Well, right now they're going to tape up Charles Bilizichin, and not only taping up one ankle, but they're going to tape up both after that tough slide at second base. So he'll stay in the ball game and he'll be back, but they're taking every precaution right now. Let's go back upstairs.
Kangaroo Court should find him several soft drink 6-packs for that horrible slide. Should have lunch on him. 0-1. Hit to the second baseman, Wolski. Does he get the force? He barely does to Fenster. They get the force out on Fierro. 2 down.
Ball may not have been hit hard enough to turn 2, but because Wolski bobbled it, they didn't even have a chance. So although that one just goes down as a fielder's choice, Dave, and although that one doesn't go down as an error, this bobble right here by Wolski could potentially keep the inning alive here for St. John's, and who knows? Now with a hitter like Galante up, if he gets a base hit.
Well, if he does, it'll be the first one tonight. I tell you what, he's walked and scored. Walked and then got hit by a pitch. The 3rd batter hit by a pitch tonight by Jeff Pierce. 2 outs. Missing inside. And Galante ahead in the count 1-0.
I don't know if they would have been able to turn 2 and get Neal at first. But again, potentially another free base runner. issued by Rutgers.
Galante earlier in the afternoon had a couple of walks. Hits this one, left center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. An RBI for Matt Galante. And Neal going to third, runner to second. Umpire's not in position. What's the call? They make the call from the third base line, and Galante is out, but he does pick up the RBI. So the run scores. Sutter scores from third on the RBI. So St. John's puts up 4 runs here in the 5th inning to take a 5-3 lead. That's our scores. We head to the 6th inning in a big elimination game here at Trenton's Waterfront Park. St. John's in the lead. They've got a 2-run advantage.
Here's how you can more than double your current life insurance coverage without paying 1 penny more than you are now. Simply call Best Quote. We'll prepare a free comparison of 5 super low rate policies that meet your specific needs. Best Quote's computer network continuously surveys the nation's top rated insurers to save you up to 70% and more on the term life coverage that safeguards your family. Consider this. Right now, a 35-year-old male can get $250,000 coverage for about $11.90 a month, 10 years guaranteed. A 40-year-old male would pay just $16.02 for the same amount of coverage, 10 years guaranteed. If that's less than you're currently paying, call Best Quote today, and we'll prepare and rush to you a free rate comparison detailing 5 policies that meet your family's needs.
Call Best Quote today at 1-800-557-3588. There's no obligations and no hassle. Simply the best insurance at the best rates from Best Quote. Call 1-800-557-3588. No salesperson will ever call you.
Big inning for St. John's. They get 4 runs on 5 hits, and Matt Galante with the base hit, but he's thrown out at second.
Simnicki comes in with a hard throw and a good pickup by the shortstop Darren Fenster, the cutoff man, immediately realizing that Galante had taken off and headed to second. He fires a strike to Wolski. So you can score that one. A base hit and an RBI for Galante, out 8-6-4, trying to stretch.
Yeah, good call by the third baseman to tell Fenster. Get that runner.
And now the home plate umpire and Fred Hill getting into it a little bit. Tony Gisandi having a conversation with Fred Hill. I'm not sure what this is regarding.
Yeah, I think that's, I guarantee that's what he's thinking. I've got...
Hey, come on, Blue, get in the game!
So Fred Hill right now may be complaining that in terms of the timing play, that second run should not have counted. Maybe he's thinking that Galante, thrown out at second base, should have negated the run in Anthony Sutter that scored on Galante's hit. But I thought that Sutter scored well before Galante was ever thrown out at second base. So Fred Hill.
Neal. Neal is the one that can. I thought Neal went to third and not home on that, right? Sutter scores easy. That's a no-brainer. He scored from third, right?
Exactly.
So I'm missing a run here. Wait a minute. That was 4 runs. Yeah, so who else scored there? I've got Graham scoring, Potts scoring.
That's right, Neal. No,
Neal did score. Okay,
that was my mistake on the names. But that both runners came home, and now all of the umpires are going to gather and chat about this and see whether or not Neal came across home plate potentially on the timing play. And I wonder how all of this is going to end up affecting Kevin McGarry, who's getting some warm-up tosses in now.
I think that run should score. I think he scores.
From a timing standpoint, you made mention of the fact as well that the umpires were kind of out of position. They all seem to be running towards third base as well.
Brutally out of position. There was nobody at second base.
And I'm sure that's what the discussion is about right now. There's no question that Sutter scored on the play, but it's a question of whether or not Dan Neal scored on the play as well. We're going to get another look at it here. Here's the base hit to left center field. Now that's Sutter coming home. He will score easily. The throw into second base, and there's no way the runner scored at third. Dan Neal must have. He went to third base, but he didn't score on the play, obviously. So there should only be 4 runs up on the board here.
Boy,
which is the way we originally had it.
Total of 5, not 6. Total of 5 for St. John's. 4 runs in that inning.
Exactly. And they are taking a run down off the board. It should be 5-3 because obviously Neal was going to third and they gave him an extra run there.
Whoever was working the scoreboard was overzealous because there was no shot. Neal did not come close to scoring. He went from first to third.
Exactly.
I was wondering why. I'm looking at my scoreboard thinking I made a mistake, and I was like, wait a minute. I thought
They just changed it to a 4, and
absolutely.
now you see the 6.
Now we're up to speed.
Knocked back down to a 5. So for a second, the fact that debate was going on even confused us.
And it shouldn't have. But Freddie, you know what? Freddie was right. Get Fred Hill on top of it because there's no way. If the runner had been safe, here's a bouncer down to first base, foul ball by Jake Dalbert.
I was obviously making the mistake as well and not counting up as many runs that had scored that inning. I thought that Fred Hill was trying to claim that Sutter hadn't scored.
Yeah.
Obviously Sutter scored, but the issue was that the scorers up in the press box had said that Neal had scored, and there was no way Dan Neal had scored from first base.
1-1 pitch. Got the outside corner to Jake Dalbert. 4, 5, and 6 for Rutgers here in the top of the 6th inning. So that was a huge inning for St. John's. 4 runs on 5 hits. And they left 1. Down low. Try to get a fastball. It's 2-2. Well, it's interesting. We talked about the big innings at the top of the show. And there was one. Ground ball and several bounces to Matt Galani. Been busy tonight. 1 down.
Always loved playing second base. That was my position because you get to do stuff like that. Sharp ground ball, as long as you field it, get to read the label. Willie Randolph always used to do that when I was growing up.
Yeah, right.
And he was a master at fielding the ball at second base, reading the commissioner's name on it before he fired it over to first base. And that short throw, well, you can look good as an infielder when you only have to make that 40 or 50-foot throw rather than having to throw it 120 feet across the diamond.
There's Mike O'Brien. Did you make your rep as a second baseman from the late in his career Steve Sax school of thought? Saying a novena as you make the throw to first? Bounce down to Fallon. That is a foul ball. How'd you handle guys taking you out? I mean, you get the Don Baylor types coming down and trying. I mean, those second basemen are meat to the big mooses like Don Baylor to get a big jump, and they live to take you over to the left field scoreboard.
Yeah. We didn't have too many guys that big in Little League. Normally, when somebody's only coming at you weighing about 84 pounds, you're not as intimidated as you would be at that level.
I know I played some American Legion ball in Philadelphia, and we had some guys 70, 71. And we had some good clubs who finished second in Philly and won it the next year. And we had some boys that would take you out in a heartbeat. And I was a catcher of that team. Oh, my God. Scary. 2-1 is the count to Mike O'Brien. Oh, St. John.